Welcome back to Ghouly Pleasures, the podcast where we have strong opinions and zero qualifications. I'm Kendra.
And I'm Darcy. And today we're reviewing episode 6 of Welcome to Derry, called In the Name of the Father.
Indeed it is.
Indeed it is.
It makes sense.
It becomes very clear by the end why this title is called what it is.
Someone has daddy issues.
Definitely. Some massive daddy issues. Like, probably the biggest that I've ever seen, to be honest. We'll get into them eventually, but this week's episode starts with a cold open.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 1935 Juniper Asylum. And we see our friend Ingrid, who, you know, we've been kind of wishy-washy on so far.
Yeah. Last time we thought she was a little weird. We're like, we're going to keep our eye on her. Then last episode, we're like, maybe she's not. She's totally fine.
It keeps going back and forth. We can't really pin her down. But we see her now at Juniper Asylum, and I really like the way they shot this scene because everything's in black and white until they go down to the basement. Ingrid escorts a little child named Mabel, who's a patient at the asylum, downstairs to what looks like a boiler room of some kind.
Yeah, some basement boiler room.
Yeah. And we find out that this little child apparently is seeing Pennywise in her dreams, and Pennywise wants her to meet him down here in the basement.
Yeah, just come down for a little chat. He just wants to talk, I'm sure.
Yep. So Ingrid was like, okay, sure, no worries. I'll take you, girl. I'll take you. And then they see a balloon, but not just any balloon, a red balloon.
The infamous red balloon.
Yes. And I really loved how this red balloon is the only pop of color in this entire scene.
I know. I love that they made this artistic choice. I just love when shows put that little bit of extra effort in.
Yes, me too. I really appreciated it.
Yep. We see the balloon, and does that end the cold open?
No. An arm shoots out from the side. And obviously, now I'm going to say up front, we can't make any assumptions, but I assume it's Pennywise. And it was creepy.
But that balloon is his calling card.
Very true. So, yeah, Ingrid takes little Mabel downstairs and Pennywise pops out. That's our cold open. So let's get into the bulk of the episode now.
Yep.
We're going to start with the Hanlon family confrontation because this is a pretty intense scene.
It is indeed. I've seen some discourse online.
Have you? I haven't seen anything yet. What have you seen?
People are just really mad at Major Hanlon.
That's fair. I would say that this episode wants us to really dislike Hanlon, and this is a part of it. Essentially, Hanlon blames his son Will for his friend Polly's death in the previous episode because Will disobeyed him, left the base, ended up in the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
Hanlon doesn't want Will to leave the base at all now.
He doesn't even want him to leave his room.
Pretty much. He's like, stay here, stay. Just like he's always saying to Charlotte, keep your head down, be quiet, because outside of Derry is safe. So we don't need to worry about Pennywise or the crazy ass weapon as long as we're not in Derry. But Will is not about this because Will has friends in Derry and he's not willing to leave them behind, which is what he tells his dad because his dad's the one who taught him that you never run away from things.
Mm-hmm.
But Hanlon tells his son, well, you're not me. And the clapback of the century is Will responding to his dad saying, you're right. I would never let my friends die.
Oof, oof.
And
Hanlon smacks the shit out of him.
Yeah, one really hard slap across the face.
He's on the ground. It's oof. He hits him real hard.
Yeah, he put his weight behind that.
Mm-hmm. And like, I do understand his anger because it's kind of uncalled for.
It's a really low blow.
Him, and it caused his friend to die.
Exactly. Right. I feel like in this scene, both Hanlon and Will are lashing out in anger. I mean,
yeah, no one's completely in the wrong here, honestly.
Right. I do think Hanlon handled it the wrong way.
Yeah, I think smacking your child that hard.
Right.
Like, I can understand the anger, but that lash out was crazy.
Yeah, like honestly, he didn't show that much venom in the scene when people were trying to kill him how many episodes ago when they attacked him in his bed. Like, he didn't even show that there.
But he is very emotionally scarred by Polly's death.
Yeah.
His actions in that.
Yeah. Will basically accuses Pennywise of getting into Hanlon's head
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure how to feel about this because, I mean, Hanlon's reaction was kind of valid. Not in the slap, but like the emotional impact that that would have is totally valid. I don't think maybe it's true and we'll see, but I didn't necessarily agree right away. It seemed like a child's perspective of an adult having an emotional
Exactly.
reaction.
That's what I got. He just spewed that, but I'm not sure how true it is, but also we don't know yet.
I mean, it's totally possible, totally possible. So,
But it's because he's probably never experienced his father have that level of anger towards him before.
right. Yes. I mean, as a child in that situation, I feel like the easiest thing to do would be to find an explanation that's not, oh, my dad hit me of his own volition. So
Mhm.
maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But this is just like strike one for Hanlon in this
Mhm.
episode. Not great.
Not great.
But Will's really not feeling things, even though his dad was just like, you need to stay out of Derry. Will promptly leaves and goes to Derry.
Literally. But honestly, if my dad slapped me in the face like that, I'm out of there too.
Right. Totally valid. And Charlotte also was there. And low-key, I think she was like, you do, you will.
Yeah, she didn't stop him either.
Nope. But she was like, go. You go. I felt bad for Charlotte in the situation.
Yeah.
Will leaves. He leaves space. He rejoins his friends who
Mm.
are all together at their little, hideout spot. And Lily is showing the shard that she found in the previous episode to the group and retelling what happened, how Pennywise seemed afraid and left her alone and backed off once he saw the shard.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously everyone's curious, like, what the hell is this? And Will, the scientific mind that he has, he wants to hold it. He wants to see what this object is and get a closer look. But as he reaches out to take it, Lily reacts very strongly. She like pulls back and she's like, no, I'll hold it.
Yeah. She reacted strongly to that, but it also could be like she's been through a lot. She
Right.
what was in those sewers and went head to head with it for a while.
Exactly. If I had been in the sewers, everyone left me behind, and I was cornered by Pennywise, and the only thing that saved me was this little shard, I would not let it out of my sight.
Exactly. I would be clinging to that thing for dear life.
Absolutely. Understand it. Was it a little, red flag? It was a little weird. There's lots of tension. Lily is basically saying to the group, like, look, we have a weapon now. We should take the initiative, go back down, and kill Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, strategically,
I mean, you really have a weapon against this thing. You may want to try something, but after everything that we've seen in those sewers, I'd be a little iffy about going back too.
yeah, I'd probably be like, you know what? Let's just break this shard up into a couple pieces and we can each sleep with a piece under our pillow or something, because that's good enough for me until we can move out of this town. And Ronnie agrees with us because she's a smart girl, okay? And she basically calls Lily reckless and blames Lily kind of for what happened in the last episode because she sees Lily as having been the one that convinced them to go down to the sewers. I mean, she was.
She basically threatened them.
Yeah, I mean, she blackmailed who we thought was Maddie at the time, but turned out to be Pennywise. But she basically forced them back down to the sewers. Totally understand Ronnie's hesitance about the situation, but Ronnie kind of takes it too far because she basically calls Lily insane and says she never should have been let out of the asylum.
Yeah, it's rough. But Ronnie is dealing with more real world horror than supernatural horror. She's more concerned about her father and that personally affects her and what it's doing to him. Because I do want to go back real quick to that scene after Will leaves his parents' house and they cut to the scene in Derry where this mob is going around with guns and they have wanted posters of Hank. And it's just my favorite shot of the show. You see all the guys with the guns and the camera slowly pans up to the American flag gently blowing in the wind. And it's like, yep, that tracks. Nothing says America like racism. Community spirit in Derry, lynch mob.
I really appreciate that they're 100% like not shying away from the reality of the time that this show takes place in.
And that's the different kind of horror that Ronnie's experiencing. So that's more personally connected to her. So I understand her detachment from the supernatural side of it.
Right.
It's one of those situations where no one's completely in the wrong.
Exactly. So, they're all going through it, but basically coming at it from different perspectives causes a falling out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've already been in and out as far as the relationship goes. It's like every time their own fears and priorities conflict. And this time it's pretty bad. And Ronnie ends up storming off. And Lily kind of looked like she was ready to stab someone.
Yeah.
Like she was like adjusting her grip on the shard. And I was like,
What's
going on? Thankfully, she holds off, but Ronnie storms off. Lily leaves by herself. Bill follows Ronnie. Rich and Marge stay behind. Truly the worst case scenario. Completely split up right now. Total fracture.
Everyone.
Yeah. But Will follows Ronnie and he catches up with her and starts comforting her. I mean, she acknowledges that she went too far with Lily, which is good because, you know, once she's out of the situation, she's able to take a step back and acknowledge. But she's totally valid in her feelings. And Will comforts her and they hug. And then there's some tension and a look.
Mm.
And they almost kiss.
Yeah.
It's like, these 12-year-olds.
Whatever.
But thankfully they're interrupted in the greatest way. Freaking Charlotte beeping her horn in her car across the road, looking at them like she knew exactly what was about to happen. She was like, y'all think you're grown? Mm-hmm. Get in the car.
Get in the car right now.
Both of you, not just Will. I love Charlotte. She's so fun.
I know, she's one of my favorite characters right now.
Yeah, I like her a lot. But she picks them up, and then Charlotte drives Will and Ronnie to the repurposed military shed that Dick and his friends have been using as their own private hangout. And they walk into the shed in the middle of a confrontation going on between Dick, who's back from the sewers.
Thank goodness.
His friends, and then Ronnie's dad, Hank Grogan.
Mm-hmm. Who's been hiding out at this black naval base.
Yep. Dick came back from the sewers, a changed man, and he went right to his little friend's hideout because he's looking for some liquor. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame him because he's seeing dead people, which it was already hinted at in the previous episode. Mm-hmm. So he just wants to get wasted. But he can't because he finds out his friends are hiding Hank Grogan, who, remember, as we've already discussed, is now wanted by this white lynch mob. They have posters of his face everywhere in town.
Everyone's looking for him.
Exactly. And now here's Dick and his friends, a whole group of black men hiding another black man who's a wanted man. Dick feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's not happy about the situation at all.
No.
He's like, I got enough to deal with.
Exactly. And he wants Hank gone. He thinks his friends are crazy. And this is when Charlotte walks in with Ronnie and Will, and Ronnie and her father have a very emotional reunion.
Very sweet.
It was really sweet. The actress who plays Ronnie did so good.
No, she's incredible. Like, a lot of the child actors in this show are doing a great job.
They are, honestly, better than a lot of adults that we've seen on TV recently. But they have an emotional reunion, and Dick sees this, and he still doesn't really approve of the situation, but I feel like when he sees this moment, he's like, all right, well, I don't have to like it, but I'm not gonna out anyone here.
Yeah, he's just like, leave me out of it.
Right.
Charlotte tries to thank him. He's like, don't bring me into this.
Exactly. Low-key, I don't blame him. I mean, it's a scary situation to be in, especially after last week's episode. Poor Dick has just been in the freaking sewers going through it. Now is seeing dead people. Like,
he's got enough on his plate already.
Right. But again, it's like you said earlier, it's that conflict between the supernatural trauma that's going on and the real world trauma going on. And they're like conflicting with each other because different characters are experiencing each one. So their motivations and desires are conflicting.
Exactly.
If Dick hadn't gone through this craziness with Pennywise and couldn't see dead people, maybe he wouldn't be so quick to like, yeah, let's get rid of her.
Probably not. Yeah, he'd probably be more on board if he didn't already have so much other stuff to deal with.
Right. So here's just another example in this episode where there's conflict between characters. Characters are fracturing. People who should be working together are just like piecing out and like, you handle it. You do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. Adults and kids, no one's spared.
Literally no one.
Yep.
They're all out for themselves. They're all got their own goals.
Yep. But we're told that Charlotte's plan is to hopefully get Hank Grogan out of this hiding spot the next day. So It's not a permanent solution. They just got to hide him for one more day, and then she can get him out of town, and everyone can relax.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there will be no problems.
No, it's going to be totally fine.
Yep, no problems, no issues. Shifting back to Rich and Marge, who everyone abandoned at their clubhouse, they get some little bonding time in.
I know. They have really sweet moments in this show. I mean, in this episode specifically.
Yes. This is the first episode where I feel like, you know what? There's some mutualness going on here. Mm-hmm. They have a really sweet moment where Marge is trying to change her eye bandage by herself, and Rich offers to help. And Marge is like, oh, it's the most disgusting thing you've ever seen, isn't it? And he's like, oh, it's so cool. It's so cute. I loved it.
It's like such a good moment of levity for the season and for this episode specifically.
Yes. Give us some just nice little blossoming romance amidst all the trauma and the racism going on, please, because I need a moment to breathe. So it's a really cute moment. And then they basically agree that, you know, they need to figure out how to get the losers back together because Pennywise wants them to be separated because they're weaker when they're not together.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to try to work it out. They don't really know how, but, you know, hope and a prayer. They can do it. I believe in them.
I believe in them.
I would trust Rich. Rich is so adorable. But, you know, this episode just makes me feel even more like if they're going to kill someone, it's going to be Rich.
He's dying the next episode, girl. I'm telling you. They make way too likable in this episode specifically, so you know they're going to try to ruin us emotionally by killing him the next.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, this kid is too pure for this world. He's too nice. He's too happy. No, it's not. He's dead. He's a goner. I mean, hopefully we're wrong, but unfortunately,
with this track record,
right, his chances aren't great. But we'll keep our fingers crossed for Rich. And then we get a really cool transition shot after this little moment with Rich and Marge. Rich has this little paper plane. He throws it into the air and it starts flying away from their little clubhouse through the air and down, 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 where it enters the sewers in total darkness. And then the next scene starts to open on Dick, who's sleeping, like, in a clearly drunken stupor. And, like, he's blinking his eyes open, so there's, like, a flashing of darkness, and then him opening his eyes, and darkness, and then him opening his eyes. And I just thought it was a really cool way to transition from one scene to another.
Yeah, a really cool transition.
Yeah, and it also gives you a good idea of what's going on in Dick's mind at the time, because, like, that's exactly where his mind is. He's still, like, mentally in the sewers, going through it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed it. This is where it's further confirmed that, you know, Dick is seeing dead people.
Mm-hmm.
Hanlon comes in to see Dick, find out what happened to him in the sewer.
We've got new orders. We got to go down there. They want us to go back down there.
Yes.
Dick's like, I think that's a shit move. I want to go back down there.
Hanlon literally gives Dick 0 minutes to rest. Like, let's go. Up and at him. We gotta move now. Like, bro, you didn't go missing in those sewers for how long, right? Like, be for real. But here's where it all goes wrong, because Dick really makes the mistake of sharing exactly what's going on with Hanlon. Mm-hmm. And he lets Hanlon know, you know, basically Pennywise opened the lid of my mind that I had shut years ago as a child. And now it's open and I'm seeing dead people. I don't talk to them, but, you know, when I do acknowledge them, they won't shut up. And they freaking know things. Like, they know things.
Things no living people should know.
Yes. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, God, Dick, no. And Hanlon jumps because he's like, oh, they do they? Well, perfect. We can use that power.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trauma dumps on him, all this stuff, and Hanlon's okay, anyway, back to military stuff.
Literally, Hanlon immediately weaponizes it to complete the mission.
And it's like, I understand Hanlon's in, like, this position where he has to balance the greater good over personal relationships he's trying to build. It's like, where do you stand?
Right. And I also understand because he did just lose his best friend, Polly. So, like, I'm sure emotionally he shut down in a certain way. So he's going to be more withdrawn. But it's really shitty. So this is really strike 2. Because not only is Hanlon like, yo, we should use your powers, he pulls a Lily and says, oh, yeah, no, you're going to suck it up, Buttercup, and we're going to use your powers to figure this out. Or you can basically be taken out of the military base in handcuffs for not doing your duty.
Yep.
Strike two. He definitely pissed me off.
Me too.
I was like, wow, all the characters that I really like, because we adore Will, and Dick overall is one of the most interesting characters. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why are you over here coming for my kids? Better sit down, sir.
Literally, our favorite characters he is personally attacked.
Literally. But so now, again, more fracturing amongst people who should be working together to figure things out. And then Hanlon returns to his home base and sees Charlotte, who's packing her suitcases.
She's packing her bags.
She confronts him for hitting Will. And then she basically says, we're leaving. Will and I are leaving. We're going back to our real home, not in Derry and not here. You can stay. If you need to do what you need to do, you can stay. And it's a disaster, honestly, the whole situation, because there's a moment where Charlotte tells Hanlon like how she feels, and he's kind of comforting her and apologizing for everything. But then he says, I'm just trying to do what's best for the country. And that obviously doesn't sit well with Charlotte, because Charlotte's priority is their son.
Is their family.
Exactly.
And you're fighting for a country that has been doing everything in its power to put their people down.
Exactly.
No, but like he's trapped between military loyalty and protecting his family. And it's like he's going to have to come to terms and pick one.
Right. Like, I understand, obviously you can't go AWOL in the military. But, for example, like with Dick, you don't have to pry into his background. He doesn't have to share that information about Dick being able to communicate with dead people and find out extra information. He could keep that to himself. He could keep that in confidence. But he's prioritized the mission over Dick. And at this point, he's prioritizing the mission over his family. And then Charlotte does something that I didn't agree with. She reveals Krogan's location.
I know. I was surprised she did that.
I was too. You know, there are a lot of people you share that info with, and I'd be like, that's fine. But when she told him that, I'm like, okay.
He's the last person you should tell. Like, I don't know how much, especially at this point, I trust Hanlon to not expose this information. So we don't know if his loyalties are truly with the military or with his family.
Right. He strikes me as the type, and I feel like it's been consistently backed up with his characterization so far, that like he would sell them out, but then claim it was for his family's good and safety. It's like we said at the beginning, the show, this episode, is doing a great job at making us really upset with Hanlon, to say the least. But back to the kids, because dear God, I can only take real world trauma shit for so long. Lily is at school and she's going through it.
She's
like sitting in the classroom and she's clutching her shard. Understandably, like I said, it would go everywhere with me. I would bathe with it.
I would make jewelry out of it, wear it around my neck.
Literally. Can I consume this? Can I crush it to a powder and consume it? Because please, I need it. She's sitting in her classroom and she has a vision of her father, the pickle version of her father, all cut up into the pickles, talking inside her desk. And she crashes out, totally crashes out in the middle of class and screams and slams her desk. And everyone's looking at her like, girl, what are you doing?
What's wrong with you? Do you really need to be back at Juniper Hills? Because this isn't looking good, girl. You're looking a little crazy right now, girl.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Lily. It's like, girl, everything you're doing just looks... Poor thing. So she freaks out and she leaves the classroom and she leaves. She's gone. She's out. Understandably, is there any other reaction? How do you sit back down?
No, you got to get out of there.
You got to be like, I'll remove myself from the situation.
Yeah, I'm going to take 5. Y'all can take out me. I'm just going to get some air.
I might have just gone to the bathroom, but like, I don't...
No, she clearly leaves the school.
Yep, she says, I'm out. Goodbye. But Rich and Marge, meanwhile, are still in school, and they're in the cafeteria having more cute bonding moments. Truly, they were like, this episode had a lot of shit going on. They were the delight of the episode.
the only moments of levity we get in this episode.
Yes. And they're so adorable. They're eating lunch in the cafeteria, still plotting, trying to reunite the group, talking about hearing voices in the pipes the other night. And then Rich pulls out a freaking eye patch that he pulled out of I think it was his cellar. And he was like, I thought you might like this. And he hands it over to Marge, who adores it.
Oh my God, they're gonna die.
They're bonding and like sharing embarrassing stuff together. And it's just honestly so freaking sweet. Oh, there's a moment where they were talking now that Marge has the eye patch. She's like, I'm a pirate. And during their discussion, Rich admits that he's been peeing in a bottle next to his bed because he's too afraid to go to the bathroom at night, hearing Pennywise in the pipes. So yeah. she consoled him, being like, oh, well, back in medieval times, even the knights would pee in chamber pots. So now Marge with her eye patch is a pirate, and Rich with his chamber pot is a knight. And they're like, we're set for next year's Halloween.
Oh, they're so cute. I hate it.
Right? Marge was like, oh, it's a date. And then, of course, it's super awkward because they're like, oh, not like that.
I don't know about that.
I was waiting for Marge to say, I mean, maybe like that. They're so cute. One of them's definitely going to die.
Yeah. They're making them way too likable and cute.
Yeah. Luring us into, a nice false sense of security. Oh, look at this joy. You're not allowed to keep it, for sure. But then the patty cakes make their return, trying to stir up drama with Marge. Basically being like, hey, Marge, why are you sitting with this loser and all these other losers at this table? You should come sit with us. And I was so worried. Marge was going to revert back.
It wasn't.
I was like, narratively, it wouldn't make sense, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But after this moment, when Marge shuts the patty cakes down, she rips up her eye patch to show the patty cakes her opened eye wound and like
her mutilated eyeball.
Yes, she calls herself a weirdo. Literally, she screams at them, I'm a weirdo. Oh my God. And then one of them like starts choking.
Literally starts retching.
Literally. It was so funny. And you can see Rich become even more smitten with her after this.
He's like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It was amazing. And this was the moment where I was like, oh, okay. Marge is officially in the Losers Club. She's on board. She's safe. We can trust her.
Mm-hmm. She's in the group. She's proven herself.
Exactly. And
honestly,
we
were holding space for that. We were
Exactly.
We were at the beginning.
Right. We knew there was a possibility, but you can never be sure until something comes to fruition. And it certainly has now. It certainly has. I would say that, honestly, her and Rich are probably the most stable people in the group right now overall. Mm-hmm. Like, because they have the least personal trauma going on, real world or super.
Like, even when they were fighting in their clubhouse, Rich was like, can't you see? Like, he's trying to tear us apart. He was like the voice of reason there.
Yeah. Like, when Rich is the voice of reason, guys, you need to calm down.
Listen.
Right. Oh my God, what if the show decides that they need to kill Rich to force everyone to rebond? I would cry.
Damn it, Darcy, that's gonna happen.
No!
That's gonna happen. If Rich doesn't die next episode, he's gonna die in the finale. But I'm pretty sure.
What do we have? We have 2 episodes left, right? Because this was episode 6. I mean, hey, either the finale or the penultimate episode. I hope we're wrong. So meanwhile, we cut back to Lily, who, remember, has ditched school after crashing out. And she's gone to visit Ingrid's house from the asylum. And it's already creepy because the moment she shows up and like is knocking on the door, she looks and sees the next door neighbor who's like watering his plants and staring at her with, one of those Pennywise grins.
Yep, those creepy Pennywise smiles.
Mm-hmm. Not concerning at all. She definitely takes note of it, but she's clearly not faced enough because when no one answers Ingrid's door, she's like, well, you know what? Let me just go in my damn self. So Lily freaking lets herself into Ingrid's home and I don't know, it feels like she has no survival skills right now because she hears freaking music playing and she's like, I'm gonna just follow this music up to what appears to be the attic.
I mean, well, if she's hearing music somewhere and she's looking for Ingrid, she probably assumes Ingrid's up there listening to music, so that's where she goes.
Yes. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's a different time, but after everything she's experienced.
I know, but also you gotta understand, Ingrid is literally the only adult that she trusts.
True. That's very true.
Completely safe here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Lily follows the music that she's hearing up to either a higher level or, to me, it looks like an attic of some kind. And, she starts looking around and she finds a photo book just like left out, honestly. And she starts flipping through the pages and it's all nice old pictures until she gets to a certain picture of Bill Skarsgård. I have to differentiate in this way because it's not Pennywise. It's like Bill Skarsgård without all the Pennywise makeup. But she clocks it. She's like, there's something.
He looks familiar.
Sketchy.
Maybe I'm just seeing things.
Right. She pauses. She's like, this doesn't look like what I saw, but there's definitely something off about it here. And of course, this is when Ingrid finds Lily. It's like, oh, I didn't know you were here. No trouble at all. Totally okay with Lily letting herself in. And this is when we get a cascade of revelations, honestly.
Boy.
Yeah.
Were you expecting this at all?
No.
This was not a bingo card at all for this show. Like, what?
Nope. Wasn't expecting it. Basically, Lily tells Ingrid everything that happened in the last episode, going into the sewers, her experience, and she breaks down crying in Ingrid's arms. And while she's, crying over Ingrid's shoulder, she catches a glimpse of a painting or a photo, kind of like low-key hidden away. And it's of Bill Skarsgård dressed as Pennywise, but not as we know him, from the movies and the show, but like as though it's a real like circus costume.
But close enough to the appearance of the Pennywise we know.
Exactly. You see it and Lily finally puts the pieces together and knows something is really freaking off here. I don't even know where to start. There is so much. There's just so much. This is where we get a flashback.
We go back to the cold open and finish that sequence.
Yes, we see more details of this. We see that Ingrid overheard that little girl Mabel talking about her nightmare of Pennywise, and she actively decided to bring this girl into the basement to see Pennywise because her father dressed as Pennywise back when he was alive. It was a circus act, but he was taken from her. And so she's convinced that this little girl will lead her to Pennywise and her father. Once again, the scene's all black and white. We again see the red balloon, Pennywise's arm stretching out, grabbing it, and he comes out and he's so creepy. This scene was so creepy. It was the way he moved.
Bill Skarsgård is just scarily tall, so he's able to pull off these creepy, long movements that make you very uncomfortable.
Truly. It's really sketchy. It's such a weird moment, too, because Mabel is understandably scared as hell. Like, oh, there's the demon from my dreams. Like, let's leave. But Ingrid is like, Papa, right? It's really interesting because, Pennywise takes his balloon and shuffles over to Ingrid and Mabel in such a creepy ass way. And at first he doesn't acknowledge Ingrid. He only looks at Mabel, the little girl. And then he turns his attention to Ingrid. And when she calls him Papa, right. Who's your friend? He says.
But like Papa?
Yeah. And when she calls him Papa, like there was a little look in his eyes. Like, do I know you? Right.
But it was weird.
It was weird because also it's there and gone again because he immediately goes into kill mode. He smiles and bares his teeth and opens his mouth really wide. And finally Ingrid gets her shit together and is like, oh, we're running. We are running. But freaking Mabel, trope of a horror movie, freaking falls, face plants to the ground basically. And Ingrid keeps going. And I'm not sure, the details, but, she ends up behind a door and, the door automatically shuts itself.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of door it was. Don't ask me, but she can't get it open. So there's a door between her and poor Mabel, who's on the ground, and Pennywise, who was chasing them in the creepiest way. As soon as the door clicks shut, he, freezes. Oh, I have my prey in sight. Now I can just cherish it. Poor Mabel is literally shoving her fingers under the door, trying to escape in any way she can. And Ingrid is clutching her fingers. But Pennywise, closes the distance and he eats Mabel.
Chops down. Goes to town.
Yep. And this is another great moment because all of a sudden you see blood seeping out from under the door. And once again, only the blood is red. There's a shot where Ingrid steps forward to look through this little window in the door to see, you know, Pennywise on the other side. And you see her shoe, her foot and her shoe, that's all in black and white, just step right in the red blood. It's like, oh, such a good shot.
Oh, good.
Loved it.
Thank you. It's so nice when show creators like have a passion for it.
Right.
They just put so much artistic direction into it. It's so good.
Yes. Like, I'm not just getting the job done. Let me give you a couple really artistic shots while I'm at it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. This is another wild ride because Ingrid sees Pennywise. Oh, excuse me. She sees Papa on the other side of the door because it's not Pennywise who pops up on the other side of the window. It's Bill Skarsgård with no costume, no clowns, and he's calling to Ingrid like she's his daughter. And he says he can explain everything. All she has to do is open the door and go inside. And that crazy bitch opens the door.
Yes. But apparently all turned out fine because she's alive, so.
Right. We don't know what happened, but apparently it went well because we cut back to the present and she's so happy because Lily did it. Lily brought Pennywise back. And as a result, her father, it's a crazy ass bitch.
She crazy. We called it. We called it 3.
Yeah. Side note, while I was looking online, I read that Ingrid's character was in the books, but in the books, she wasn't like an actual person. She was Pennywise, like in disguise, trying to get close to them. Don't quote me on any of that. I haven't read the books myself, but that's my understanding. So clearly, you know, they're doing their own interpretation within the show. But yeah, so I got a little confused here, I gotta admit, because Pennywise isn't necessarily her father, obviously, because the alien is from another world, but like...
Yeah, what a cosmic evil deity descended upon this native tribe is Pennywise.
Right, and it's like it's taken on the image of her father. And so, you know, she's convinced it's her father. I don't think it is. And I really think that, you know, Pennywise is like, I can use this person.
Or it could be because we don't know what actually happened to her father. We just, like, she just told us he was taken away. So maybe he merged with this cosmic deity to become the Pennywise we know.
She basically indicates that her father is like trapped in the shadow of this deity and she wants to free him. So it's a weird dynamic. We really haven't gotten all the details of it. So I'm waiting for some more answers and clarification on the situation. This is like the most background, movie-wise and show-wise, this is the most background we've really got on like Pennywise and his origin stories. So
I think they touched on it in one of the movies. Like I remember the old lady when what's her name, the red girl, went to her house and she had pictures in her house. Maybe that's Ingrid. Because I remember that old lady scene. She was being real creepy, and they showed pictures of old Pennywise.
Google says, AI Google says, no, a character named Ingrid is not in the It movies, but an elderly woman named Mrs. Kirsch. Because that's Ingrid's last name. So Kendra was essentially right. We just confirmed that, well, there wasn't a character named Ingrid in the It movies. There was an elderly woman that Kendra mentioned named Mrs. Kirsch, and Ingrid's last name is Kirsch. So I think, timeline-wise, it would probably be her.
Could be.
Right. I don't know. Except the movie definitely plays it more allegedly straight to the book because it's been a long time since we've watched the movie. But in the movie, correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Kirsch was like a manifestation of Pennywise. So
I think so. Remember completely, but remember the creepy old lady.
Right. But in any ways, it's clearly riffing off of that character in some way, shape, or form. And they're just, you know, presenting a new iteration of it. But so, yeah, there's a lot to take in this situation. You know, Ingrid's dad is technically the human form of Pennywise, and now the deity has taken on this form of her father. And I guess she's convinced if she helps it in some capacity, she can get her father back. It's very alarming exchange between Lily and Ingrid because Ingrid basically indicates that, you know, she wants Lily's help with something. And presumably the help is going to be, you know, helping to bring back her father / Pennywise. And Lily basically says, like, are you going to kill me? And Ingrid says something that she thinks is so obvious. which is obvious only to herself. But she tells Lily, like, no, I would never let anything harm you. Your friends, however, are an exception. They can die, and they will.
It's literally what she said.
Literally. It was like, oh God, this is not going well. But Lily comes to her senses. And after, Ingrid tries to manipulate her by saying, you can see your father again. Lily refuses to have anything to do with Ingrid at this point and takes out the shard that she's still carrying and cuts Ingrid and flees the house.
Before that, though, there's a scene of Lily looking over and seeing the clown costume being sewn in the act.
That's right.
That's my Perriwinkle costume. And it's revealed that it was her in the cemetery when they were taking their pictures. And it was her outside of Will's house when he saw Pennywise out his window. And also, I saw another clip of that, like when Hanlon goes out after Will gets scared. You see her car background.
Damn, see? There was just so many freaking revelations. I totally forgot about that one. Jesus. Yeah. So freaking Ingrid's been following the whole time, masquerading as Pennywise. But this makes me have a question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If she was following them to the cemetery, right? And she had her costume on, so at least some of those pictures were her. Like the picture that Will took, that's her.
Yeah, in the crypt.
Why didn't the cops see that picture?
They said it was just a statue.
Huh.
It's like, this is a statue? That's what they said.
Right.
Because they weren't going to believe them anyway.
Right. So. I mean, yeah.
It was a blurry picture. It wasn't like a clear photo of a person. It was like a white silhouette, like so it could have been anything to them. They're not trying to listen to these kids.
Very true. But so like lots of the horror that we saw before and just assumed it was Pennywise in some way, it's not. It's been Ingrid.
She crazy. Yeah, we called it. Everyone, like, we say we get stuff wrong, but look, go back to the episode where we're like, she's suspicious.
I think that was 2 episodes ago. We were like, last episode was the first time we were like, she has some normal moments. Maybe she's okay. No, she's not. I low-key wish that the show had been more subtle with her, because then it would have hit even harder. Like, we all suspected it. Like, can you imagine if we had no inkling at all and then all of a sudden all this was revealed? It would be even more unhinged than it already is.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been.
But then people would have been like, that came out of nowhere. This makes no sense.
Right. My favorite twists are when you rewatch something and you're like, I didn't see it the first time, but
subtle hints. Yeah.
Yep. You're like, that thing makes sense. Like something, especially when the first time around, like you were like, that's stupid. What a plot hole. And then you watch it the second time, you're like, that makes total sense now.
Exactly.
I see. My bad. But yeah, I mean, it's still a great twist. We get another really great shot here when Lily is hopping on her bike and riding away from Ingrid's house of her back, where you just see one bloody handprint on her shoulder. I like
She's riding through the streets screaming.
Yeah, understandably.
Poor Lily. She's going through so much. Like, now she was alienated from her friend group, and now the one adult she can trust, she has no one now. I'm really worried about what her character's going to do going forward, because this is like a breaking point. She has no one now. She has no one.
Yeah. What do? She has no one to turn to. So I'm also concerned for her. Hopefully the kids will, find a way back together and pull her back in, because she needs some friends.
Yeah.
She needs support. Meanwhile, though, the other kids are over on base. Will brings Rich and Marge to see Ronnie and her dad. And basically they want to try to convince her again to, work with Lily and attack Pennywise.
Join the Pennywise. So, like, come back. We need to be together to fight Pennywise. And Ronnie's still like, I don't know about that.
Ronnie's like, no, I'm not leaving my dad. I need to make sure he gets out and he's safe. Priorities. Good for you. Especially, I wonder if she knows that, like, when she's out of Derry, she's safe. You know what I mean? Because I'd be like, I'm good. Don't worry. Me and my dad are gone. I'm curious. This is one thing that I was curious about throughout the episode, because, there's also talk about getting Hank Grogan out of Derry and, like, away from the base, somewhere safe. Is Ronnie supposed to be going with them?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like it wasn't really answered. It was a little vague. Like, is he going alone?
Just because it'll be suspicious if she also goes missing. But also, she's a black girl and Derry doesn't care.
True. Very true. But Unfortunately, their attempts to convince Ronnie don't go well. She goes back in her room to chill with her dad, and Will goes after her because he says he can be just as stubborn as Ronnie, which we know is a lie. We know who's going to win. And we get another cute little light moment here because, basically Ronnie's dad is like, I see what's going on here. You two like each other, huh? He doesn't say that, but I mean, he basically says it without saying it. And Ronnie's embarrassed by the whole thing, and it's quite adorable. But he also is like, no, definitely, you can't bring my daughter down to those sewers to fight Pennywise. I'm so sorry, sir. Which obviously, correct. That, do you really think her father was gonna give the okay for that?
He's trying, though.
He is. That's all you can do. And then this is something that I found to be a choice because they all decide that they're gonna throw a party, like the adults. They have a whole big party at this hideout.
A little juke, much like Sinners. They start a little juke joint. They start partying. They start drinking. They start music.
Yes.
That's
it reminded me so much of Sinners. As soon as I saw it happening, I was like, oh no, in Sinners, this didn't end well. That was literally my thought process. And also, I was like thinking to myself, you're hiding a fugitive. Like, you'd think this wouldn't be the night. You would just want to keep things quiet and under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Choices.
It wouldn't have made any difference anyway, but...
True. But I mean, okay. So essentially, they're having a nice little party. And we find out that someone tipped off Henry's location to Clint Bowers.
Clint Bowers, the racist chief of police, the one the kids went to in the first place with the pictures, and he's like, what is this crap? So he gets a tip from a woman that Hank is hanging out somewhere on the Black Naval Base, and he's inciting this mob of white men who are already on the hunt for him. He's like, I got this tip from this woman. Because who else would know Hank's location?
Right. Yeah, so he incites this little white lynch mob, and they all go to the base where they're hiding Hank, and they're having their party. And we don't see the confrontation, but we see a bunch of white men showing up wearing what look to be Halloween masks, but it's a clear reference to the KKK.
Yes, they all have monster masks on. It's like, oof, it's crazy. They got monster masks. They're rolling up in the trucks. They come out with their little rifles. Oof, I hate it.
It's not going to be pretty.
I hate it.
Yeah. So now we're getting, unfortunately, a very real world horror mixed in. And then it's stressful. Yep. So I'm sure next episode with that is going to be very, very, very stressful. And I do not look forward to it.
No, me neither.
Yep. Back in the supernatural aspect of the show, we end on a lovely shot of Ingrid donning her Perriwinkle clown costume. Like, she's crazy, but I'm here for it. It's interesting. I'll be very curious to see what kind of role she plays. I don't know if I have predictions. If they're not worried about tying things into the movies in any capacity, I feel like she'll die in the end. Pennywise will kill her or something.
You think we're going to lose?
I mean, damn. I don't know. The thing is that some people just can't be lost. Like Dick can't die, for example,
Yeah.
I mean, and now we're all attached to these kids. We already lost Polly. How many people we got left? How many people can we just randomly kill? I don't know. They've done a decent job of making them all feel valuable. So it's like no matter which character they kill, it's going to be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I feel like this episode specifically did a lot of character work and motivation building.
Yeah, I agree. I will say that the scene where Ingrid is revealing everything about, her history and her father, blah, 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 blah. Low-key was an exposition dump, but I mean, it was presented in a way that at least was entertaining and interesting. So, I mean, you got to get the information out there somehow.
You got it. Yeah, this is a lore that needed to happen because we needed this explained to us.
Right. I do want to address real quick that I feel like there's like an increasing number of adults who are openly acknowledging Pennywise and the supernatural aspects of the show. Like Hanlon is fully on board. Charlotte fully accepts what's going on. Hank Grogan, low-key, seemed to have an understanding of what was going on. Like, because when Will was talking to him and explaining the situation, he didn't seem totally surprised. I don't know if Will was leaving out details. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember how much he told Hank. Yeah.
Right, we didn't really get it. But then there's Dick. So there's at least the bare minimum 3 adults on the quote-unquote good side who like are aware of Pennywise and what's going on. And I mean, it's interesting to see, but it kind of contradicts what earlier episodes talked about with the Pennywise fog. You know what I mean? Kind of not allowing adults to process what's going on. And then I also low-key feel like it takes away from the stakes a little bit, because I feel like the biggest horror of the It franchise is these children seeing and knowing this supernatural horror is going on, but they have no adults to turn to. But in this situation, they have multiple adults to turn to. There's like safety belts on, you know what I mean? The safety wheels. Exactly. There's like safety wheels on.
Yeah, we didn't have that in the movies because it was just these kids against Pennywise alone. Now that we have the adults that understand the supernatural situation aren't just like brushing these kids off, like there's a sense of safety with that as adults.
Right. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if they're gonna do something to rip that away in the last 2 episodes. I kind of hope so, because I mean, you want to up the stakes and make it feel, you know, like real shit could happen. Take all the safety nets away from these kids. I don't know how they could do it without, you know, killing the adults or totally separating them in some way, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the show is setting up too many kids and adult characters to have them just kill off the adults. I feel like they're going to remain an integral part in the finale, season finale.
I agree. And I'm not complaining about the adult characters because I like them. I just think it's complicated because it takes away from a part of the horror aspect of the show. That's all.
It's like a different type of horror now. It's not, like you said before, it was with the children being unable to have any sort of safety in this because no adults are believing them. It's just these kids against this monster. And now that we have adults into the mix, it's like, well, where are the stakes now?
Right.
But like the stakes are also there for the...
Right. It's more just grounded in reality for certain characters like the adults, which is good. It's a different kind of horror. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's been how many movies? There's absolutely nothing wrong with exploring different themes and types of horror within a franchise.
Darcy, what are our predictions for the last 2 episodes? Do you have any?
I think Rich is gonna die.
That's one of my predictions too.
Yeah. I think Rich is gonna die. I think Perriwinkle is gonna go on some kind of rampage. And I think she might try to work with Pennywise and then die.
Those are valid. Those are valid theories. I can see both of those things. Like, did you see the previews for next episode?
No, I didn't watch them.
It didn't show much. They show... But I think we're going to get more backstory on the actual Pennywise, Ingrid's father, because they cut back to that when she was a child and they were in the circus. We see a bit of that. We see some fire. We see Pennywise in a fire. We see the head off between the Black Naval men and the lynch mob. And we see more Dick going through it.
Poor Dick.
And a charred hand that I'm worried is Rich. Charred hand that I'm worried is Rich.
No.
It was a small little hand.
No. I refuse to accept that. Well, we have 2 episodes left, so we'll find out pretty quick what happens.
We'll find out. I heard the next episode is going to be like 1 hour and 40 minutes long, but I could have just been making that up.
Oh my God. I hope
it's the penultimate episode.
True, so probably.
Well, that wraps up our recap review of episode 6 of Welcome to Derry. We'll see you guys next time. Same ghoul time, same ghoul place. Bye-bye.
Bye.